The heart of your team. The heart of LA. Bally Sports West. The heart of the fan. We all have our favorite players who have put on an Angels jersey. From role player to superstar, unique talents and personalities have peppered the history of the Halos. Tonight, as we continue our celebration of 6 decades of Angels baseball, we hand our broadcast over to some of those favorites. Stories that only a player can tell. Details that only a player can see. We'll share those stories with you. This is the Player Takeover of Bally Sports.
It is a picture-perfect day for the Angels to return home as they face the Tampa Bay Rays here in our Player Takeover broadcast. Angels celebrating 60th anniversary. So proud, so happy, and honored to be with you today. Many stories, many characters, personalities, yes, and a lot of talent on the surface here today. Hello again, everybody. José Mota with you alongside Mark Gubicza and Mark Langston, 2 legends that will carry me here throughout the broadcast. And the story today, Gubi, obviously is going to you first. Shohei Ohtani gets hit in the elbow yesterday. He's not able to start tonight, but boy, what a luxury that he is in the starting lineup, huh?
Yeah, hit number 2 in front of Mike Trout, right behind David Fletcher. 16 extra base hits with 20 RBIs so far this season for Shohei Ohtani. Get hit right above the elbow. That's the pitching elbow. As a right-handed pitcher, you're batting on the left side. You leave that arm exposed, but what he's able to do after that, he steals a couple bags. 6 stolen bases on the season. Also in .311 with 5 home runs versus a fastball. He's going to face somebody tonight. And Tyler Glasnow throws a fastball average a little over 97 miles per hour.
I know a lefty that was not afraid to throw inside and hit some guys if they were leading too much. His name's Mark Langston. Langer, Jose Quintana gets the news. Obviously, they told him about this last night, but a surprise for a guy that's been struggling, could that be a good thing?
You know, for Jose Quintana, he was told before, I think that ball dropped after it hit off of Ohtani's elbow. He said, hey, you might be in there tomorrow. And it is his normal day, so I don't expect anything else. His start was going to be tomorrow against Tampa. The preparation's the same. Everything's the same. He's just moved up a day. For him, he's prepared to go. Certainly after his last start, you know he's itching to get back on that mound and get things on the right ship.
Langer, I cannot wait to get your stories. You and Gooby are going to be flip-flopping down there on field level, so the stories are going to flow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, teach me a few things about baseball, pitching, blocking, even maybe a little rock and roll from both of you guys. Angels bats have been hot, but now it's all about complementing those runs with guys on the mound. Yes, it's going to be a fun one. Player Takeover. Let's talk baseball and tell stories. Angels and Rays right after this here from the Big A. It is so fun to be home. Angels against the Rays. Angels coming from a road trip where they saw them go 4-6. And the bats have been hot. Now it's a matter of matching things up with the guys on the mound. But what a great way. Gooby, Langer, I cannot say Mark because both of you are going to be talking to me at the same time. But
what?
Look who's there. Shohei Ohtani was supposed to be on the mound. Yes, what a luxury it is, as you mentioned during the open, Gooby, that he gets to be in the starting lineup, and the opposing manager has to be thinking too, maybe he's not going to be hitting today.
Yeah, you were probably hoping that's the case. You mentioned that in the opening, 16 extra base hits and 20 RBIs, and his speed on the bases with 6 stolen bases. Yeah, you would love to see him take a day or 2 off, but no, Shohei wanted to play, and he's back in there, hit number 2 in the lineup.
Langer, here comes the batting order for these Rays. Not a team that's known for offensive prowess, but they've been struggling, especially with men in scoring position. Randy Arozarena, sensational in the postseason. You got to know his name as a left field. Mike Brasso is at third base. Austin Meadows is a designated hitter. Yandy Diaz and those big biceps at first base. Manuel Margot is in right field. Be followed by Brendan Lau at second base. Francisco Mejia, the catcher, is batting 7th. Willie Adames at shortstop, scuffling with the bat. Batting 8th, and Kevin Kiermaier, boy, we're going to see a display in center field between these two. That's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, Langer, so Jose Quintana, he goes to the bullpen. Now he's on the mound. What is going through his mind right now, especially because he has been struggling?
Yes, for me, the first and foremost is get back on track. How does he do that? He has to get back in the strike zone and work ahead and then finish guys off. We've seen him kind of work ahead on a lot of hitters, but unable to finish guys off. I still want to see him attack the inside part of the plate. Anytime you're a lefty, if you could get in on these righties and attack that spot, that will open up that outside part of the plate with that changeup. And we know once you establish that inside fastball, that curveball is going to come right out of the same spot, and you could get some swing and misses there. So for me, establish the inner part of the plate, make these right-handed hitters very well aware of that ball in the inner half.
Yeah, my go-to is going lane that same line, Langer. I got to believe in it. You got to trust your fastball. He's got 13 strikeouts with his fastball, but more success with his secondary pitches. A batting average combined on those two pitches at .435. You want to make sure you get those pitches out of the strike zone, all set up by the fastball, both inside and outside, to be successful tonight.
Well, Joe could not say it clearer today with the defense needing to step up also for the Angels. Justin Upton, Trout, and Walsh in the outfield. Around the infield, Iglesias gets the off day at shortstop with Fletcher. Rendon next to him third. Rojas at second base. And Pools at first. Suzuki, battery made with Jose Quintana. So, player takeover. It's going to be more about you guys than about me, but it's going to be a ton of fun to be talking about so many stories throughout this ballgame.
How about the adrenaline for Jose Rojas getting his first start at second base, especially with Quintana, who will get his fair share of ground ball action.
First pitch by Quintana, misses outside, fastball.
Now, you talking about adrenaline. How about the adrenaline I have right now in Mota Island down here? Field level, game on.
Why?
Well, I'm close to the action here.
Hey, by the way, you got some gold gloves, so we know you can pick it down there.
I don't know if you noticed, Gooby. I am gloveless down here.
Gloveless in Seattle for you right now.
There's Langer. Hey, just remember advice I gave you in a line drive. Just
Duck.
dive. Just dive.
All right.
1-1 now. Foul ball by Randy Arozarena. He comes in with a .273 average, 3 home runs, 11 RBI.
What he did last year in the postseason was off the charts. .358 with 10 home runs, an OPS of .1219 in the postseason. He basically willed the Rays to the World Series last year.
This team is 3-5 in their last 8 games, 4-7 in their last 11 games. So for Jose Quintana, ahead in the count, I know you guys want to see something to put him away immediately, I'm guessing, right?
I'd like to see that breaking ball down in the dirt.
Got it done. 1 out.
Change piece. That's a good spot with that after establishing in. It opens up that outer half. You know Langer is a left-handed pitcher. If you establish in, that's going to open up that outer half, and you can do that little fade changeup. It looks like a strike, ends up off the outside corner. That's how you get a punch out.
Well, we talked about Quintana too. He's even mentioned he had to move towards the first base side to create that better angle to attack those right-handers. To me, that is the go-to spot if you really want to drive that ball on that inside part of the plate.
Talk to me a little bit more about that, because Langer, seems like the ball will be coming in diagonally on the right-handed batter, which is much tougher for that bat plane, right?
The thing is when you're on the left side of the mound, being a left-handed pitcher, arm side, you can't cheat that spot. You've got to get fully extended to get to it. Like that one right there, that's a good extended fastball right there at 92. And even more, he could get that ball in even more, but you cannot cheat it. You have to really be totally committed to that spot. And to me, the only thing that changes when you grab that grip of the breaking ball is that. The extension should be the full extension that you felt on your fastball.
There's another changeup, it looks like, Gooby. Mike Brasso, who's coming in at 182 average, 2 home runs and 6 RBI. Are you guys both surprised by how many averages we're seeing in all-around baseball under 200?
A lot of it.
Huh?
The overall team averages are around 220, 230. You're seeing a lot more teams just thinking of those 3 true outcomes again, going back to the walk, the strikeout, and the home run. The Angels are not like that. They put the ball in play a lot more and more consistent. That's why their batting average and runs scored are so high in the American League.
Good hold up.
2 outs, 2 strikeouts. That's a hitter. When you know, and Langer, you see that when you're looking at a lineup. You know when someone's struggling. That means he's going to be aggressive against you early because he doesn't want to fall behind an account and deal with your secondary pitches, and you're more apt to chase with 2 strikes, and that's exactly what he did with a fastball up.
And you know, Gooby, also when you work ahead, you want to expand the zone. And right there is just see if he will bite at something up and out of the zone. It's always a good spot. If you miss and he takes it, you now have changed the eye look. And now the breaking ball and the changeup are more effective.
Here's Austin Meadows, lefty-lefty matchup here for Quintana. That's a nice bender right there. 0-1. Now from that angle, Langer, what does it do for a lefty facing a lefty?
See, it should open up because if you're targeting the inside part of the plate to the right-handed hitters, you could put a blindfold on and attack that outside part of the plate to the lefties.
Well, he's a hitter too. When you're changing eye levels like he did with the fastball up, now all of a sudden the hitter goes up there. He's got to look at the upper part of the strike zone and then down below. If you have a pitcher that's settling on one spot, one zone, makes it a little easier to hit. Even though hitting the baseball is a hard thing to do, but changing eye levels is so important, especially for Quintana to make his secondary pitches work. He needs that fastball up.
Here's the 0-2. Just as you talked about, they're a good spot for him to miss on. Meadows, .215 average, 5 home runs, 12 RBI. Kevin Cash managing the Tampa Bay Rays. They come in with a 14-win, 15-loss record. Angels come in at 13-13. They've started this 7-game homestand.
Quintana's trying to channel his Shohei Ohtani here in the first inning, maybe punch out the sides.
That's the story of today. Shohei Ohtani was slated to start for the Angels, hit in the right elbow yesterday, stayed in the game. Joe Madden could not rave enough about Ohtani, stealing 2 bases right after that.
He went Ricky Henderson on him. Ricky Henderson was the same way. You remember that, Langer? If you hit him, he was going to steal off you, and he was going to steal third as well.
Yep.
He said that was the easiest bag to steal.
What are you on? 2 outs, first inning. It's softly right side, foul.
I had a Ricky Henderson story. I would always go from the windup with a guy at third base. I'd check him, and then I would go. And I had the big leg kick, so there's a lot of time that you could run on me. But I checked him. He was with the Yankees, and I lifted my leg up, and he started to break for home plate. And I went, oh, my goodness. Got rid of the ball, and the umpire screaming, that's a balk. He was already on his way back to third base. I was completely freaked out. From that point on, I went from the stretch with the guy at third base. I will not get worked by Ricky Henderson again.
Yes, missing inside. We talk about a leg kick. How about this one?
Langer, did they ever ask you to do the Rockettes there in Radio City for the Christmas show with that leg kick there?
Yeah, people ask me to do that now, and I go, I don't even know how I did it then.
That knee is pointing straight up.
That's why it hurts.
On a full count. Got him looking. 1, 2, 3. Goal the Rays. Nice start for the kid from Arjona in Colombia, Jose Quintana. Here come the Halos. After the best inning as an Angel for Jose Quintana, here is a lineup for manager Joe Madden Fletcher. Shortstop today with Iglesias off. Ohtani, designated hitter. Shohei with 8 home runs. Mike Trout in center field batting third. Anthony Rendon is picking it up at third base batting fourth. Jared Walsh, my goodness, playing like an all-star in right field batting fifth. Upton, Pujols, Rojas, and Suzuki rounded up for Joe Madden against one of the toughest right-handers pitchers overall in baseball, Tyler Glasnow.
From Hart High School, power fastball, average fastball over 97. My go-tos to have success against him tonight. He's really evolved into a very good overall pitcher. Is don't chase that curveball below the strike zone. 25 of those strikeouts with his curveball below the zone, and let him provide the power. Upper 90s, just put that barrel of the bat and see how far it can go.
Here's Fletch, and Fletch likes that high fastball. Should be very interesting here, Langer.
I agree. I like David Fletcher, and I like Shohei against him. Both Shohei and Fletcher love that fastball up.
Here's the first strike for Fletch, 265 hitter. Looking for his first homer of the season. He does have 10 RBI. So glad you could join us here on our player takeover as we celebrate Angels history 60th anniversary. Right side on the ground, Adames. Easy out, 1 out.
But great numbers overall as far as batting average against him. It's 144. But first pitch swinging, and Shohei Ohtani will do that. Mike Trout has done that a lot himself. you got to be ready. First pitch, just a 250 average, but when you put 250 as compared to 144, as Mike Trout's going over to David Fletcher just to get a little advice on what to see from Glasnow.
Gubi, I want to ask you a question. Being a right-handed pitcher, this time of night, the light just kind of shoots through the little crevices up top. And Glasnow, when he first came out to do his warm-up pitches, he went, wow, it is distracting. It's almost like trying to hit a golf ball into the sun.
And it's difficult on the follow-through. You're not comfortable. And I remember a couple of those times over the years pitching in this ballpark with that, that light going into your eyes. You just don't know exactly where you want to throw it. And that's why I'm saying early success against him, especially in his first or second inning, and jumping on some early pitches as well.
Only one on Shohei Ohtani, 8 home runs and 20 RBI. Can hold up a big breaking ball, and we know about those breaking balls. For you, Langer, from that angle, what are you seeing in terms of release points as you saw him warm up too?
Yeah, just the deadly combo of the high octane up top. Gubi, you talked about his average velocity at 97. He can touch 101, and then you'd start that breaking ball in the exact same spot, and then the tremendous depth to that breaking ball. That's a deadly combination. And oh, by the way, he uses a slider now.
0-2 on Shohei. Stays alive, and it's a piece of him.
So you look at this at bat already to Shohei. No fastballs in this at bat. Slider and 2 curveballs. And then when you know a guy throws 97 to 100 and you haven't seen it yet, it's still in the back of your mind that you're going to get it at some point.
Shohei took one in the ribs.
Yeah, you feel this the time he might try to run that 4-seam just slightly above the strike zone against Shohei.
Another 0-2 from Glasnow. Good ball up the middle. Off the glove of the third baseman. Grasso can come up with a Shohei going to second. He will slide in safely. That is how you play baseball, Gubi. You like 1985. There's some 1985 for you.
Forced it all started with an infielder trying to be quick because he knows how fast Shohei Ohtani is going down the line. Everyone's seen how quick he gets down the line. And then the ball goes into the outfield and he says, you know what? I'm going to get in a scoring position for Mike Trout. He might check this one out. Kiermaier with a quick throw. Looked like he got his foot in there before the tag was applied, though. Trout a chance right away.
Well, the speed of Ohtani, he's not have the velocity on the mound tonight, but the legs are in good shape. Shohei just turns this routine play that just took a funky hop on Glasnow, the third baseman. As soon as it kicked off, and I totally agree with you. They know the Shohei can fly. That rushes every infielder to know they got to field it clean and get rid of it clean.
He's going. And he will be thrown out at third base. And you can see the intent right from the minute he got there, Gubi, that Shohei did not want to stop. In fact, he was still adjusting his batting glove to run.
Yeah, he didn't get that walking lead and going. And with a tall pitcher like Glasnow, but he's pretty quick to the plate because he throws so hard.
Yeah, this is a
he with a pretty good throw there as well.
Yeah, no doubter. As you mentioned, Glasnow, you talked about it, Gubi. Glasnow is a guy that's not real quick to home plate. The velocity, yes, but mechanically, no. He is a guy you can run on. And I think you're right. Shohei was trying to pick his poison, but didn't have that great a jump.
Big swing, fastball at 100 miles an hour.
Get used to it.
Well, Trout saw some 99s yesterday from the source that he was not expecting that in Kendall Graveman against Seattle. 99 right on the hands.
And Trout crushes fastballs this year. 463 versus fastballs with a 1345 OPS versus a fastball. But this is a different fastball. It's a Mark Langston fastball.
No. Gubi, both you and I, we relied on our fastball a lot, but this is next level fastball. This is, in the old days, the Nolan Ryan fastball.
Yep. How about the slider? How big a pitch is that for him now? He's out of that pitch now, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different tilt for his breaking ball. More 12-6 curveball now. He's got that side action with his slider.
Hey, Langer, how long was the slider always part of your arsenal? Was it added, and how comfortable were you with it in certain situations?
Yeah, I was basically fastball, hard breaking ball, more of a slurvy-ish pitch. I didn't learn to change up until I got to the big leagues, and Billy Connors, the late great Billy Connors, is the one that really emphasized the back and forth side of pitching. But I was just a power guy, just reared back, threw it as hard as I could, and then had a power breaking ball to go with it.
There's 99. Talk about powering back.
How fun is this at bat here? You got Glasnow throwing a fastball at 99. Trout, who covers the fastball so well with a mammoth swing. It's like the OK Corral here going with Glasnow and Trout.
Will he challenge him on a 3-2?
Yes.
He hits it up inside. And misses. The best odds in baseball. That's another good at bat, keeps the inning alive for the Angels, and that'll bring up Anthony Rendon.
Hey Langer, during your career, playing career, have you ever seen anybody with such a good eye that didn't chase pitches out of the strike zone like Mike Trout?
I've never seen anybody who's disciplined as Mike Trout. Ever since he's come into the league, he's had this discipline. And I talked to his dad about that, and his dad said, you know, I wish I could say I had something to do with it, but I used to throw him BP when he was a little kid, and he would keyhole me. He wouldn't swing on my BP stuff, and I would scream at him, swing the bat. He was disciplined as a kid. He understood the patience in developing the strike zone. He knew it as a youngster, and it's carried at the big league level. It usually takes years at this level to get to that point.
Rendon right side, giving chases Margot, and this will find the stands.
I like that Rendon swinging at the first pitch. He's got pretty good numbers on the first pitch when he puts it in play, so why not? That might be your best chance to get a fastball. He's trying to make sure he gets ahead of the count.
Glasnow's coming off a start against Oakland. Outstanding 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs allowed, 10 strikeouts, only 2 walks.
I watched every pitch of that game, and I'm telling you, the strike zone, if he got the strike zone that he had against the A's tonight, Angels would be in big trouble. It was elevated. He was getting corners off the plate. Just difficult when a guy with this much power.
Hit hard right side. Margot, no problems with the bank of lights, and the Angels strand one, even a double, but they don't score. It's scoreless here at the Big A after 1. Our Jeep tools of the trade, Jose Quintana, guys. What a start, huh?
Great start for Quintana. He's lacked some confidence, and this can build the confidence right out of the gate. First inning, punches out the side. Gubi, as you well know, we used to say it in the dugout, if you punch out the first guy, you better punch out the side in the first. Otherwise, it could be a long night. He punches the side out in the first.
And with coupled with fastballs to boot and a changeup, so that's a good sign for Jose Quintana.
Did you guys really say that?
Yep.
I was happy to get 1 strikeout in 9 innings, let alone 3 in 1 inning.
Here's Yandy Diaz taking ball 1 from Jose Quintana. Diaz batting 4th. He'll be followed by Manuel Margot and then Brandon Lau. 4, 5, and 6 against Jose Quintana. Diaz, big man, but not a whole lot of power. No home runs, 7 RBI. So, Delano, let me take you back to that. You struck out the first guy, and it was like, all on, let's do it. Was that pressure on your catcher?
No, that's just a conversation you have in the dugout. You're not thinking that on the mound. You're thinking get outs any way you can. But in the dugout, that's the conversation.
Let's talk about the catcher that you like throwing to. There's a quiet guy. There's a guy that's very active. There's a guy that drops down a knee. I can mention names, but I'm not going to take that away from you guys. For you, Gubi, which type of guy did you like behind the plate?
I love Bob Boone behind the plate and Brett Maine because they were quiet. They stayed in the middle of the plate and trusted my movement on both my fastball and slider, not to give up location, to stay low, stay middle, and trust my movement on my pitches to get some quick outs on the ground. Like that.
There's a Fletch on the other side. Stealthy Fletch gets it done. 1 out. And you, Langer, I mean, there's some catchers out there that are quite obvious in their stretching abilities. What kind of guy did you like?
You know, I always like the guy, again, that's on the same page with me. I don't like to shake off at all. Up in Seattle, Scott Bradley did a great job of being on the same page. I had Bob Kearney up in Seattle, who was just a rock. I could throw, there could be a guy at third base, I could bury it 10 feet in front of home plate, and he will knock it down, and the runner would never score. So that gives you the confidence that you have on the mound, that when you need that big strikeout and there's a guy potentially in scoring position, you need that ball stopped. And when those catchers are able to do it, it gives you the confidence to be able to extend and let it rip.
I'll go with the 0-1. Quintana off to a good start here.
Also had 2 guys with the Angels, Johnny Orton and the big wheel, Lance Parrish. And Lance was a monster behind home plate.
There you go.
But I liked that. It was just a good target. I was I wasn't as focused, as pinpoint as probably maybe I should have in my career, but I liked Lance. It seemed like I could throw to his shin guard, and that was covered the outside part of the play. His right shin guard, his left shin guard would cover the inside part of the play. That's how big the big wheel was behind home plate.
Yeah, well, you have more freedom of the strike zone too, guys, huh?
Yeah, and with a target like that, we always joke around with Max Stassi from the Gladiator movie. Maximus, you entertain us. Well, that was a Gladiator with Lance Parrish behind the plate. That was a big man covering that plate.
1-2 on Margot, batting fifth for the Rays. Quintana with a 1-2 count. 268 hitter. Swing and a miss. The off-speed differential make a difference. So does the catcher Suzuki, who finishes the out for out number 2. And strikeout number 4 ready for José Quintana.
Keep in mind right now you have a hitter coming to the plate, Brandon Lau, that is very, very good on the first pitch. Hitting 500, 8 for 16 with 2 home runs on the first pitch. Now, Langer, when you had a stat like that,
yep,
what did you try to do? I love that when I found that, because I would exploit that, throw a fastball just a little bit off the plate, let them get himself out.
No question. That's as soon as you learn that first pitch fastball, guys, you'd give them what they wanted, but not in a location they could hurt you with.
Jumps on it immediately. Angels with a shift. By the way, who would have thought that? Obviously, the Angels and Joe Madden, there's always a connection between Joe Madden and the Rays. Rightfully so. He took him to the World Series. But also on the defensive things that have happened in baseball, people point to Joe Madden.
Yeah, a lot of the shifting. Joe was ahead of the game as far as that.
Well, it's a pretty good tilt on his breaking ball. You can see that from that angle you're at there, Langer, for Quintana. That's a pitch that hasn't been there for him yet. It was in spring training, but hasn't been in the regular season an effective pitch for him yet.
And you talked about Lau being a guy that's aggressive first pitch. You look at what he's doing against lefties this year. 1 for 28 against lefties. So right here, the next 2 pitches should be nowhere close to the strike zone.
I mean, Lang, did you know numbers like that before you faced guys?
Maybe not that detailed, but you knew which lefties you could go after and which lefties you couldn't.
There's another K. 6 in a row. 5 via the K for Quintana after a nice start. Welcome to our first player takeover broadcast. José Mota, Mark Gubicza, Mark Langston, and celebrating the Angels' 60th anniversary. Great to see the fans here. And let's go to something we were talking about earlier in regards to shifting. Joe Madden implementing so many new things that have happened throughout baseball and evolved throughout baseball. But Gooby, with you, as we see Jared Walsh get to the mound. Did you pitch to the shift or position, or did you stay with your strengths?
I usually went with my strength, and what I would hope to do, especially for my shortstop, if it's a right-handed batter, I want him leaning more towards the hole at shortstop. I always felt I had the ground ball back up the middle. Same thing with a lefty. I wanted my second baseman more in the hole, move my second shortstop a little bit more towards the bag. The third baseman would be over there, but I would have a tough time be able to be consistent getting outs with all the movement of the infielder. So I was a ground ball pitcher all the time. So if there was movement like that, sometimes my fastball would sink and run away. Sometimes it would go straight down. So I wanted him to stay as true as possible as far as in the infield.
Langer,
Yo,
you pitch to your strength or to positioning?
always to your strength. And back in the day, we didn't have the big shifts at all. Gooby, you probably had the same thing. Never had the big shift. Hitters, the infielders would read. They knew exactly where to position themselves. They would see the sign that's being called, your infielders, and they would take, right before the pitch, they would take that step to the right or to the left. If it was a breaking ball, they knew it might be pulled. If it's a fastball, they might take a hop the other direction. So it always seems like they were in the right spot. So we didn't have the big shift as far as that's concerned, but you always have to pitch to your strength no matter what.
There's 100 miles an hour again, guys, up in the zone as Walsh goes down to a strikeout.
And Langer, if there was contact made on that one, you were going to be in trouble over there.
It was toast. Exactly.
You're probably ducking, huh?
You could believe that.
Well, that just looks free and easy at 100.
It is free and easy. I'm watching it, and it's like he's playing catch. It's like he's throwing a side session right now.
Here's Justin Upton, will be followed by Albert Pujols. Upton 5 home runs, 12 RBI. Here's that slider we've been talking about, 89 miles an hour.
And that is something he developed over the winter. He didn't have that slider last season, and it's something he really wanted to work on, something different to have another pitch in his arsenal, and he's using it more than he's using his curveball.
Well, that spin he's getting on his slider, Langer, 2,800 RPMs. This curveball, over 3,000, 3,054. You're talking about average around 24, 24.50. Unbelievable what he gets as far as swing and misses with both the slider and curveball.
I can tell you right from here, Gooby, without even looking at numbers, it's really good.
Is that late breaking news for us, Langer?
It looks pretty good from here.
Yeah, notice he's always from the stretch. Fastball, 100 miles an hour.
Glasnow forgot. He said, you know what? I thought I had 2 strikes on him. Well, my bad, my bad. Oh, man. You know what? If
okay,
Justin
wait.
gets one now.
Hold on. Did that ever happen to you guys?
Well,
definitely.
Always. You forget every once in a
You
while.
could brain lock out there and you think, okay, that first pitch was a strike, which maybe was just off the outside corner.
You try a little bit harder to get the strikeout there.
Just look at that tilt on his curveball. Wow. You know, Justin Upton has been great versus secondary pitches, breaking balls this year. But that's a different breaking ball. He's hitting 385 versus breaking balls this year.
Which one of you added a pitch because it was a necessity during an off season, either early or late in your career?
I didn't throw a changeup. When I was drafted by the Royals, they said you're throwing a 2-seam fastball, sinker, and a slider. I threw a 4-seamer and a curve out of high school, and they said, no, you're going to do this. So I'm like, okay. And then I said, well, how do you throw a changeup? I never really threw it. He goes, don't worry about it. Just stick with the slider and then the sinker. I'm like, all right. So eventually, when you lose a little bit of velocity on your fastball, you needed some separation. So I learned my changeup from Mike Magnanti, who showed it was almost like a split-finger changeup you see from Dylan Bundy, and it worked so effectively. I got hitters out in front. They were still reading fastball. I got some quicker outs, and it made my fastball look a lot better.
Pretty good at bat. Look at the bat toss. Is that a message right there?
Yeah, so don't ever think you can strike me out on 2 strikes.
See, those are the things that we see in the dugout, huh? And you know, yeah, go ahead, up, do that.
Well, and you know that, and you know, sitting in the dugout, everybody's thinking the same thing, going, this guy thought he had him punched out. Let's see the at-bat. And it's the same thing when you come up and in, and you come up and in hard with your presence known, certainly with the velocity he's got, and knock a guy off the plate. You better execute the next pitch because you've got his full attention in the batter's box. And I think that right there, it woke Jay up, and he turned into a really good at-bat, a 6-pitch walk.
Already the third base runner for the Angels here in this early going. Here's Albert Pujols, who takes the first strike. Pujols had a rough going in Seattle, but guys, I don't think there's a guy making harder outs for the Angels than Albert Pujols.
Averaging over 90 miles per hour exit velocity for Albert Pujols, 41-year-old Albert Pujols with 667 career home runs.
We're talking Hall of Fame numbers.
To me, it's unanimous.
It's Hall of Fame unanimous first ballot. Now, about Hall of Famers. Which Hall of Famers did you really own, Langer?
Wow.
Huh? Just like, you know what? He's in the Hall of Fame. I pretty much just destroyed him.
Man, I don't know if that you always don't remember the guys you destroyed. You remember the guys who destroyed you. And I'm thinking of a lot of Hall of Famers that I helped their stats to get into the Hall of Fame.
Well.
Yeah.
How about Ryan Sandberg, 0 for 8, Langer? Harold Baines, 139. Barry Bonds, you can laugh about that one too. 1 for 10.
And I thought Bonds never hit a home run off me. That one hit, a home run. I didn't think he got me. It's one of those, again, you don't remember that. You remember some of the other stuff, but I was shocked to learn that one hit did leave the yard.
Kubi, I love it. Reggie Jackson, Rod Carew, Kirby Puckett.
Yeah, I mean, Reggie Jackson, because he grew up, he was a Philadelphia guy, so it was an automatic edge right away. So I was going to throw as hard as I could in that one. So I love having success. But Rod Carew, I was surprised. But like I said before, our scouting report against him was throw the ball right down the middle, let him hit a line drive at a fielder. Because we didn't know how to get him out. It was inside, he turn on, down the way, hit the ball in left field. So throw it down the middle and see if you get lucky.
Man, those are some big names right there. Rod Carew.
Yeah, Kirby Puckett, too, was funny. Yeah.
Kirby had like almost 90 at-bats against him.
Yeah, he would scream at me because I throw him a slider, I think, every single pitch. I think that's why my elbow is crooked right now. And he goes, one of these times, Gooby, I'm going to get that slider. So one day I messed around and said, let me try a changeup against him. Home run.
Gone.
And I said, that's it. You're getting nothing but sliders. He started laughing as he's running around the base. I love the way he played the game.
No score here. Bottom of the second, Pujols takes one close. 100 miles an hour consistently. Guys, are you surprised from the stretch how good this guy is able to extend and explode?
No, he's a 6'8" monster, Jose. So by the time he releases it, it's got to look like he's right on top of you. visions of what Randy Johnson used to do at 6'10", and by the time he got stretched out and released the baseball at that velocity, it's so difficult for a hitter to really get things all synced up.
I mean, he's got, what, a size 16 shoe, and he's driving towards the plate. I'm surprised he's not landing on the grass.
You talk about landing. That one landed right on Pujols' front foot, where he has no protection.
Yep, no pad for Albert, old school. And Albert, probably the toughest guy I've ever seen around in the game of baseball, and we've seen it through the course of his career with the Angels. A lot of little nagging injuries, and Albert is put me in that lineup every day. You will never know if Albert's hurting or not.
That's a great point. Gooby, who does that remind you of? A guy that you played with, you just could not pull him out of that lineup.
George Brett was that way.
Really?
I mean, but Albert, I agree with Langer. He's the toughest player I've ever seen, ever.
Swing and a miss. Mejia cannot hold on to it, so Upton will end up with a stolen base.
I mean, every day, no matter what it was, he felt the team had a better chance to win a game with him in the lineup or at first base. And then you got to respect Albert Pujols for that. He's always done that. He played in some hot weather early in his career in St. Louis, where that can really wear you out physically. Yet he's still doing some amazing things 10 years later wearing his Angels uniform as well.
Here's José Rojas looking for his first career RBI. The Anaheim native. Many fans here looking at José Rojas batting eighth and playing second base. Comes in at 179 for an average. And takes a pitch down.
Yeah, and sitting down where I am, it's while he was out here doing some stretching right before the game. Some of his, I'm sure they were high school buddies, came down and went, "Jose, what's going on, man?" And you get that when you are able to play a game in your hometown. And I was from Seattle or here. When I'd go up to the Bay Area to play, all my high school buddies would show up. They would all show up to the game and watch me pitch. And I had a game my rookie year where I was taken out. I was pitching well in the 7th inning. The manager took me out. All my high school buddies, and they might have had an adult beverage or two, came down by the dugout and started screaming at our manager my rookie year. "Why'd you take him out? He could have got out of this inning." And I'm in the corner as a rookie. Back in those days, we sat in the corner and kept our mouths quiet. Oh, there's another nasty slider right there from Glasnow.
You know, as a left-handed hitter with a guy like this, you are not necessarily Gooby looking slider situation.
No, and left-handers have a lower batting average and slugging percentage against them as compared to right-handed batters as well.
It's about where he starts it against lefties. 1-2 now for Rojas. Man at second for the Angels, no score.
A lot of room in that left side of the infield. Just try to punch it that way.
Stays alive.
Needless to say, as I will finish that little tired story I had, the next day the manager came up and said, "Hey, are your friends coming back today?" And I went, no, they won't be back anymore. I promise you that. So,
is that Dick Williams? Is he the manager at that point?
No, that was Dale Crandall.
Oh,
was the manager back in 1984. Gooby.
By the way, Dale, one of the best catcher instructors ever.
How about his hands? Those fingers were all going. You didn't want to ask directions from him.
Swing and a miss. Mejia blocks it. He will take care of finishing off the at-bat. So Glasnow like Quintana on time. So, hey, do we count? Wait a minute. That's my fault. How many strikes? Upton won that one, buddy. All smiles. After 2, no score. Oh, they're nice. Why don't you also enjoy Angels baseball from the comfort of a sweet, entertained guest with all-inclusive packages? Call 888-796-HALO or visit angels.com/suites. They're spacious. You can bring your friends, and obviously they are available for you to enjoy the rest of the season here in 2021. The Angels celebrating their 60th anniversary. And there's a beautiful ballpark. Jose Quintana has been on fire. First 2 innings, 26 pitches, 19 strikes, 5 strikeouts out of 6 batters. And there's a base hit center field by Francisco Mejia. He had a nice half inning blocking and now starts his top of the 3rd with a single up the middle.
Always known more as a hitting catcher as compared to the defensive throwing catcher, but he had a good throw against Shohei Ohtani, and you mentioned blocked some pitches in the lower part of the strike zone as well.
And you look at what Mejia's done to lefties. 350 average against lefties this year. So right out of the gate, that first pitch curveball Caught a little of the plate.
It takes me to this question here, guys.
Yep.
Do you ever have a catcher that was so into his offense that forgot about what he wanted to do on the mound? That you have to go and remind him what it was about? This ball hit hard right center field by Adames. Diving his truck, cannot come up with it. And he around second will be stopped at third base, and a double for Willie Adames, number 8 hitter. So the Rays, bottom of the order here, doing some damage against Jose Quintana.
And aggressive to boot.
Yep, they're seeing that Jose Quintana's around the plate, so what do? You start swinging. This one splits the gap perfectly. Trout, great effort right there. Lays out for it and then quickly gets up and gets the ball back in. And Mejia, the only reason he doesn't score, he's got to just wait to see if Trout makes that diving grab.
Well, he had a great route on that one, too. That was 106 miles per hour exit velocity on that swing.
What could this visit be about right here, guys?
It's also about what sign you're going through with the man on second for the first time. But I know, Lang, you might agree or disagree with me. Every time I had a guy on third base, my first pitch, I would try to throw right on his hands because they're trying to get the runner home.
Yep.
You're looking, most hitters you would think look out over the plate. So that first pitch, always important right on the hands.
So back to my original question about a catcher that perhaps you had to pull aside and say, guy, you know what, I want you to hit, but please remember it's about us and the mound.
Yeah.
Nobody comes to mind?
Mike McFarland was like that way because he could swing the bat. And sometimes he would do that where he had a tough at bat where he was a big run producer for us in Kansas City. He would forget or go would put down the sign, and I'm thinking, oh man, I don't think that's the right one he was looking for. It looked like I'm the one that crossed him up.
I think I remember that a couple times.
Yes. He comes out, he goes, you know what? That was my fault. I said, I'll take one for the team on that. When everyone thinks I'm the one that crossed you up, but it was actually you, and he starts laughing going back there. It helped having the mask on.
Kiermaier's about a number 9 hitter, 246 for the year. A threat here for the Rays. Nice off-speed pitch by Quintana. He's got a good feel for that right now.
He does, and Kiermaier, another guy, lefty in the lineup that hits lefties well. 389 against lefties this season. And the Angels with the infield back, Rendon's the only guy right on the grass, so the Angels will give up a run for an out right here.
Lefty's 214 against Quintana coming into this one. Rendon up on the grass, off the line. He could not check the swing, says third base umpire Brian Gorman.
Every once in a while you'll see a manager with 2 strikes on the batter. You might think about bringing the infield back in here now, especially with Glasnow on the mound. Clearly crossed the plate. You can see that one over there, Langer. They should have pointed to you.
I was ready. I had my arm up.
You were doing the Ken Kaiser. Get ready.
Yeah.
Here's a 1-2 on Kiermaier. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout there for Quintana. That is already number 6 for the left-hander.
Not only that, good breaking ball. This one's in the dirt, and this is what we talked about earlier, trusting the guy behind the plate. I can bury it. Will you be able to block it? He does. He buries his curveball in the dirt. Suzuki goes down with the glove, able to grab it and get the out.
Pretty good tilt on that breaking ball. You know you can expand the strike zone. You see somebody check swing on one off the plate. Why not go right back out there?
This guy right here can hit a fastball. Randy Rosarena struck out swinging first time up. Gets the off speed, just missing. Nice presentation there by Kurt Suzuki.
Well, that could easily be called a strike. It looked like it got the lower part of the strike zone. That could change an at bat around for a hitter. Instead of being behind 0-1, he's ahead 1-0, and that was in the lower third of the strike zone.
Here's pitch number 34 from Jose Quintana. Second and third for the Rays. Good breaking ball. Back swing. Ideal swing.
Yeah, you talked about it, Jose. He's got a great feel for that breaking ball right now, and it's got a ton of tilt to it. And that's why you're seeing a lot of guys right over the top of it. It's located in great spots.
Infield pretty much straight up, which you don't see very often nowadays in baseball.
Yeah, the feel for a pitch. When you're in the bullpen, you're warming up, or even when you take it out to the game mound, you have a feel for, especially if you have your go-to, your out pitch working. Boy, you're confident all game long, no matter what the scenario is, that I'm going to be able to have a good feel and I'm going to get a chase and a swing and miss. Even in a big moment like this with second and third and 1 out.
He wants this to be the right pitch right here to get him to 1 and 2. What will it be?
Well, that heater in, there's a reason that heater was above the strike zone. You mentioned it, a real good fastball hitter. And in this situation, if you're going to pitch the ball up, but certainly with your fastball, that's the easiest job for a hitter, to get the ball deep enough to drive in the run. So you want to make it so much up in the zone to where if he does put a swing on it, it's going to be in the infield.
Yeah, I knew he was, he had to be thinking he's throwing a break ball if they're a high fastball.
Yep.
Now, Langer, during the course of your career in a second and third situation with no outs and then eventually one out, was your mindset ever, I'm okay giving up a run to avoid a big inning, or was your mindset always, I'm going to punch out a couple guys and get through this inning with no damage?
My mindset was, I will punch this guy out and leave that guy standing at third base. I didn't like to give up anything, never even crossed my mind. Right here, I would battle back and try to make sure I could punch this guy out right here.
Big pitch right here.
Change speed, it's all speed. Now you got him thinking at home plate, what is he going to throw me now?
Well, he's had a lot of success with curveball, and this one is, again, it's a good curveball. This one on the outer half of the plate. I'd like to see him go back to it and bury this and see if you can have a Rosarina be aggressive. 37 strikeouts on the season, so a guy will swing and miss.
That was a pretty good take, and I think he was looking breaking ball all the way there, guys.
Yeah, but you're okay with that. You still now you have a double play set up.
I agree.
Gets a walk and they'll be loaded.
That's aggressive pitching right there. You are trying to go with your strength, and we've seen it so far in this game. The strength is the curveball. First inning coming right at everybody with the fastball, but he has changed now second time through the lineup. And after the aggressiveness here to start this inning with the single and the double, then comes the breaking ball, and that's right now his best pitch.
Key for a lefty. Langer, bases loaded, and a guy like Brasso up.
Yeah, I mean, you would love to. Quintana's a guy that can get the ground ball, and that's what you were striving for right now. Get to ground ball and get out of this jam right here.
It's tough to get a ground ball when you try that four-seam fastball up there. That's why you're going to have a quick conversation now. If you want that ground ball, it's going to have to try to be the lower third, especially if you can throw a two-seamer or even a changeup.
By the way, guys, I noticed, you can see this, there's some communication between not only Quintana and Suzuki, but he looked at Matt Wise.
And it looks like there's some movement down in the bullpen now.
Yeah.
And this was initiated by Quintana, in fact. And Suzuki must have seen something.
And he was looking at his fingers, but looking over to the Angels dugout. And obviously with Weiser not coming out to...
And the best thing, guys, no medical staff coming out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wonder if it could be about the card being left behind in the bullpen. Bases are loaded. No score. 1-0. Hit high foul. Let's look at Quintana. Watch this here. Then Matt, hey.
The card.
Yep, the card.
To know what to go with.
Gooby, you and I, back in the day, we never had to, this is like a nightmare you would have to worry about. And we see it so much. These guys are looking at the card because of what technology has allowed these guys to be able to size up everybody's sequence, what they like to use.
But doesn't it go back to feel for a pitch and your pitches that you don't really need that? I understand it. If you need something to be able to look for to get you through an inning here, a potential pitch here against a hitter that has been very aggressive early in counts.
Guys, this block could get him to that inning. That was outstanding there by Suzuki.
That's what we talked about early. Boy, that just having that catcher smother, that gives you the confidence. But it's the card, it's the sequence of signs that you're using. That's what I've seen all these guys look at the sequence because of the ability of teams to know what sequence you like to use. So they have to continue to change that.
Well, gets a chase on that one. 2-2 to Mike Brasso. He does have some legitimate power, pull power. Strike out first time up.
2-2 count, always a big pitch here because you have options at a 2-2 count. 3-2 with the bases loaded, you're limited on your options. So you have options to go with any one of your three pitches. Whatever you feel you get a better chance of getting a strikeout now with.
You guys saw what Brasso did to our oldest Chapman in the playoff, right? Will he see Fastball, left side, off the glove of Fletch and going into short left field. 2 runs will score, and the Rays take a 2-0 lead here in the top of the 3rd inning. Tough break there for the Angels defensively.
Well, you were hoping for a ground ball, and it wasn't exactly squared up. Instead of maybe getting 2 out of it, ends up being a 2-run single.
Yeah, but this one right here, it's coming right towards me. David Fletcher's coming right towards me, and boy, I don't know how this ball gets underneath his glove, but it does. Looks like he gets to the spot to be able to at least get his glove on it, and it just takes a weird hop on him, because right there, if you can't make the play, you want this ball at least knocked down to keep the second run from coming home.
That had odd spin on it. Even
did.
spinning around from Rendon, it looked like he was thinking about it, then it was spinning away from him, and he's going right back to the bag, potentially for a force out at third.
Yeah, sitting here on the field, it looked like David Fletcher had that, and next thing you know, it shoots under his glove.
So 2 runs are in, 1st and 3rd for the Rays, and Austin Meadows, the number 3 hitter in their lineup, who was struck out looking.
And Fletcher played a number of games at shortstop last year, but this season, Iglesias has been there almost every inning.
Meadows turning 26 today, Atlanta native, 9th overall pick by the Pirates in 2013. Angels infield plane pull, 1 out on 1. Breaking ball away. You know what? We've seen Quintana kind of face these types of breaks. You know, different things have happened. Remember in Dunedin, the slide and the hop and things like that. And could that be something that really starts creeping into your mind, guys?
Yeah, you start doubting yourself. You wonder what's going to go wrong next. And in the minute that creeps into your mind, generally some bad things will happen. You got to try to clear that as quick as possible. Have trust in your offense. But it does creep into your mind, believe me, as a pitcher, because everything is on your shoulders when you take that mound.
Hit off the end of the bat. Tough read in right field. Walsh coming in. He's under it. He makes a catch and tagging at third base and putting on the brakes as the runner out is Orena. Nice play, Jared Walsh.
That's a pitcher's arm out in right field.
Believe it, and he did everything correct. This little short fly ball, you wanted Jared Walsh to make the play. He does. Sets up all the momentum behind this throw. And believe me, the Tampa Bay Rays know that Jared Walsh can throw, and they don't even begin to attempt. Rosarina tags and gives you 2 hard steps to home plate, but that ball right on the money from Jared Walsh.
That's a 2-way player showing up right there as a pitcher's arm.
That's right on the money. Rosarina would have been out by a mile. Langer, you might have got into a rundown with him there. You might have had time to get out to third base.
There's a huge out. And a nice pitch again by Quintana. Meadows hit that ball off the end of the bat.
Speaking of outfield arms, the best I've seen, and there was a lot of great ones from Dave Parker, Dave Winfield. Jesse Barfield was the best I've ever seen. It was incredibly accurate, and he loved when people just try to take a base against him, whether trying to score from home or even go first to second or second to third. That was the best arm I've ever seen.
I totally agree.
Off the end of the bat, base hit left field, 3-0 Rays as Yandy Diaz comes through with an RBI. His 8th of the season, and the Rays, guys, bottom of the lineup got this started. You tell me if something went different between the first 6 batters and these 6 here in this inning.
Well, their numbers aren't great to begin with in the lower part of the lineup, so you still have a lot of confidence if you're Quintana, but he's got some early swings against him. He already established he was throwing strikes. He threw that first get-over breaking ball to Mejia, and he got a base hit on it. And then all of a sudden you're seeing hitters going, okay, he's around the strike zone. I got to be ready earlier. I don't want to deal with secondary pitches as the game and the bat progresses.
Hey, Langer, before we lose a shot, and how about the card being handed here to Jose Quintana?
Yep.
Do you see that sometimes as getting in the way of guys just trusting their stuff a little bit more, sequencing, or
I just think it's part of the game now, and everybody's got it, and it's not like the Angels are the only team that uses that. Every team uses that and really tries to eliminate the ability to steal signs when they have a runner at second base, and all it is the sequence of sign that Kurt Suzuki's going to throw down. What is the sequence of it? And it's changes, and they can change it on the fly if they think that they have been out there long enough at second base. Gooby, both you and I, we know that. We'd come upset, and if you saw anything, if you saw the runner look at second base bag, you thought, oh my gosh, he's giving this away. If you were throwing a fastball in the outer half, you would look for little signs from the base runner But now it's so precise, and there's just the technology allows teams to be able to dig deep and to find out what teams use in sequence, which pitchers like to use. So this is the way that they can defend that.
Yeah, the information they have as hitters is off the charts.
Hard through the middle. Here comes another run. That'll be the 4th for the Rays this inning. And just like that, after a great start, retiring the first 6 batters, 5 via the strikeout, José Quintana has quickly given up 5 hits and 4 runs here this inning.
And for a team that's not swinging the bats well, they haven't swung the bat well for a while. It relies a lot on the long ball. It's been the singles.
It has. It's been only one ball that's hit hard, and that was a double by Adames that here, the second batter of this inning. And a lot of balls off the end of the bat. We saw that funky hop that got by David Fletcher in the infield. And this is just another one that's just well-placed baseball. And, you know, when you're going good, those are right at people. When you're struggling like Quintana, those things seem to find holes.
First and third for the Rays again is Margot with his 14th RBI of the season, batting number 5.
Well, Jose, you remember you talked about it the other day, the big innings, the crooked numbers against the Angels this year on the pitching side. It's really been harmful as far as trying to put together a long winning streak.
The Angels
4 here in this inning.
Are leading baseball in that department, just way too many big innings. And I'll tell you what, on the offensive side, it puts you on the defense right away. You know, having to fight back a lot and puts a lot of pressure on the guys on the offensive side. But nonetheless, here there's still a lot of game left. But there's 2 different mentalities with that.
But you're giving a guy like Tyler Glasnow just all the luxury that this guy needs. Makes it this evening a lot more difficult, even though you got a lot of time left. But now you've gotten Glasnow can take a deep breath and just rear back and do his thing. So when you face a guy like Tyler Glasnow, I think he's truly one of the best pitchers in the American League. You got to try to match him as much as you possibly can and keep the game as close as you can, because those guys have the ability to really shut down any kind of offense.
I always felt when you got locked up against an elite pitcher, that's when you were at your best in your game. I love that. I mean, you always love run support against the number 5 guy in a rotation, but when you were locked up against the ace of the staff, you went to that next level, because every pitch you threw had some meaning to it. You couldn't afford to give up. Hey, I'll just challenge him. You might give up a home run. You might lose 1-0.
So the remains by Brandon Lau. He struck out swinging first time up. 0-2. 78 pitches now. Or 78 miles an hour. 52 pitches for José Quintana. 78, he would have been out of the game. I didn't even get to 78 in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, this is a big moment here for Quintana. He's got to really dig deep. This is a lefty that struggles against lefties. Now 1 for 29. You need that swing and miss here.
You got him set up 0-2. Tied him up. He fought it off also. So there was a different mentality facing the ace or facing, say, a number 5 guy, or even say a guy that was a call-up that day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you always want to go out there and perform and put up a 0. You want to shake the catcher's hand through 9 innings. But when somebody like a Randy Johnson, or I got locked up against Langer quite a few times too in my career, I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of support. So you had to fight all the way through every single pitch you threw.
Runner takes off on the wild pitch, unable to come up with it cleanly is Suzuki. So, you know, one thing we noticed too here, Langer, is the aggressive base running on the Rays throughout the inning.
Yep. Yeah, and this one right here, Suzuki with the guy at third base. The ball is just not going to take the chance here. Angels down 4-0 in this game. You do not want to have them just get that gift run in case that throws off target a little bit. He just says, hey, I'll just block it and you can go ahead and hit second base.
They've had some very impressive secondary leads throughout this inning. And again, this is a team that is not an offensive juggernaut, but they need to maximize every opportunity. Swing and a miss on Lau. And the inning finally comes to an end. Suzuki completing about the Rays score 4 times, and at 2.5 they lead 4-0. Join your Angels for every Saturday night home game and stay to enjoy a post-game Saturday night fireworks show. Is spectacular. Visit angels.com/promotions for more details. Well, fireworks, it was all about the Rays in the top of the 3rd inning. 4 runs on 5 hits against José Quintana. And the Angels go now again against Tyler Glasnow, who's been pretty solid through the first couple of innings. 3 strikeouts, a couple of walks. Kurt Suzuki, number 9 hitter for the Angels, will be followed by David Fletcher and then Shohei Ohtani. Glasnow comes in with a 3-1 record, ERA of 1.67, which is the 3rd best in the American League. Hit hard, left field corner. Extra bases for Suzuki, and a good start for the Angels here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Yeah, you want to respond right away when you give up 4 runs and Glasnow's on the mound with an ERA 1.67 coming into the game. You want to make sure when you get a pitch upstairs like that, you bring your hands up, and that's a great swing by Suzuki. 2nd double in the season. You have to be super quick to bring your hands up. Speaking of super quick on the hands up, on a fastball upstairs, you got one at the plate now, David Fletcher.
Hey, Langer, I like that Glasnow's not afraid to hide his feelings and even just express himself there openly, as we saw with Upton. Now he says that pitch up there.
Yeah, and you know, when you have a 4-0 lead, and that's not like a 10-0 lead, but for Glasnow, that's a big lead. Sometimes you could get a little laxed and make some mistakes, and that pitch is just caught a lot of the plate and up, and Suzuki could put a nice swing on that to go get that. But you can fall into traps when you get a big lead, and you can make a lot of mistakes, and you can kind of let teams back into things.
The Angels have had base runners in every inning so far against Glasnow.
That was a theme yesterday, and they weren't able to get those clutch hits with runners in scoring position, though.
And here's our key out player profile. And where are we going with this one? Well, it's easy. As we look at David Fletcher, the local kid, 38% will be on the 3rd lowest when it comes down to putting the ball in play.
Yeah,
which is what he does.
He'll see pitches, he'll make contact, he doesn't waste a swing.
Hits it hard. Look what he found.
How did he catch that one?
That never happened to you, Goobie, right?
Oh, yes, it did. And this looked like it went off his side and went right into the glove. It wasn't straight into the glove.
You know, he's a good athlete for a guy that's 6'8", and this ball just finds the glove. It's all it is. This is one of those, as you well know, when you extend and you release and that ball comes back at you, you just hope that the glove happens to be in the right spot, and right there, that's all it was. The glove was in the right spot and just went right in. You could see his reactions. He reacted after the ball was into his glove, went, oh, I have it.
The kid from Newhall, Hart High School. Oh, some serious exit velocity right there on David Fletcher. Here's Shohei. 1 for 1 today. A double. Foul left side. And guys, what an aggressive play and smart play by Shohei Ohtani on that double that pretty much, we could almost call it an infield double.
I love that.
First inning.
When you're facing a really good pitcher like Glasnow, you have to take chances. Even trying to steal third base, think, okay, you're already in scoring position for Trout, but you have to pressure a defense and you have to pressure a pitcher and not let him get comfortable.
Big swing. You know, well, who comes to mind and a guy that perhaps could have been a two-way player, starting with you, Gooby, the guys that you played with or against?
Dave Winfield. I knew he was a pitcher in college at Minnesota, but just seeing his arm in the outfield and the way he swung the bat, his partner, I got to see him hit for the cycle against the Royals, but power, Hall of Fame power, but also his arm. Can you imagine, speaking of tall pitchers on the mound, the intimidation factor for Dave Winfield? Wow.
Shohei stays alive on that breaking ball. Langer, how about you?
Well, Winnie's a good comp right there. It's hard to top with Dave Winfield. And you talk about exit velocity. We talk a lot about Shohei and his exit velocity. Dave Winfield is a guy that during batting practice, he is probably the only guy I really paid attention to. You could be in the outfield during BP, and when Dave Winfield stepped in, you turned your head and you focused on it because he could dot you in the outfield with a line drive that could take you down. And I saw Marcel Latchman was behind the cage out there in the outfield, and he just reached out to get a baseball. Winnie hit one and knocked him to the ground. Hit him right in the chest, knocked him to the ground.
On the ground is this pitch as Shohei goes down for another strikeout, out number 2 this inning for Tyler Glasnow.
Well, he just turns it to another level when there's runners in scoring position. This is a big 12-6 curveball. Looks like a strike, ends up in the dirt. That's why as a hitter, you almost got to try to get that one out in front, because once it starts breaking below the strike zone, you have no chance at that pitch.
In terms of strikeout rate, since the start of 2020 among qualifiers, he is right behind Jacob deGrom, Shane Bieber, and Ben Glasnow. And he's facing El Nino Mike Trout here. He walked the first time up.
By the way, 31.49 spin rate on that curveball. I mean, Shohei Ohtani makes a lot of contact on breaking pitches, but that's incredible spin.
And that pitch came in at 85 miles an hour. You talk about separation. We've seen 100 miles an hour twice today, including one against Trout in that first at bat. There's 99.
Let's take a look at the two of the most unhittable pitches in baseball. Take a look at our StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud. The curveball, 23 strikeouts with that pitch. Shohei Ohtani's splitter. Look where the common theme is as far as most of them look like strikes, end up below the strike zone. Start at a high level, and then bottom drops out for the curveball for Glasnow and the splitter, Shohei Ohtani.
Langer, did you ever go through a stretch where your curveball was just at a point where it was unseen, unhittable?
Yeah, I mean, there's points and there's games and there's moments in games where you feel pretty confident with that. But to me, it's all set up by the number one. That makes the curveball and the slur that much more effective. So it all starts with the fastball.
Yeah, Langer's being humble, Jose. I saw that curveball from both when I was locked up against him or in the dugout. That thing, you can almost hear it crossing the strike zone. That was nasty. Langer, you had a nasty one.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pitch that I used a lot and I was always confident in. And certainly it was, to me, it was all set up by my fastball. And once I felt like I could get ahead of hitters, and we're seeing Glasnow, and he's got two weapons to use, not only that power fastball on the upper side, but that good breaking ball. Once he gets you to understand that he will work that top quadrant, that curveball that starts maybe middle of the plate, you try to go after it, and it's just not going to be there.
By the way, good decision there, in my opinion, by Suzuki. If you're not sure, don't go, especially with Trout hitting. Swing and a miss, got him swinging. That's 5 on the night for Glasnow as the Angels strand another base runner. 4-0 Rays after 3.
And my Hyundai key for the game, but tonight, a little Led Zeppelin battle of Evermore. Right now, it's got to be a battle all the way through for Jose Quintana to put up some zeros and get the offense going against a very, very difficult pitcher in Tyler Glasnow. The defender, you got to make a play in the field, but if you're Quintana, this is your moment to put up a zero to give the team a chance to get right back in it.
You're saying this battle never ends, and there's a lot of battle left here for the Angels, trailing by 4.
That's what makes sports the best. You just battle all the way through.
So bottom of the order, all the damage started here against Quintana. Same guy, Francisco Mejia. In the previous inning, he doesn't waste any time and fouls it back.
Just like the first at-bat, swing at the first pitch.
It'll be 7, 8, 9, Mejia, Adames, and Kiermaier. Mejia started with a single, then Adames followed with a double to right center field. Big hit was Mike Brasso with a 2-run single off the glove of the shortstop Fletcher. And that pretty much opened up the floodgates. 56 pitches for Jose Quintana. Still looking for his first win as an Angel. So Gubi, how do you erase that previous inning and say, I still have to go out there and allow myself a chance in my offense to come back?
You gain so much respect from your teammates, Jose, when you're able, after an inning like that, to put up a zero the very next inning. And if your offense can respond back and score some for you, fine. But then you go, okay, I'm going to go back out there and put up another zero. Gain respect from your teammates by battling all the way through.
That was a pretty good pitch. Go around the umpires today. Adrian Johnson is behind home plate. Sean Barber at first. Trip Gibson at second base, and Brian Gorman at third base.
Brian Gorman's been a good umpire for a lot of years.
Yes, he has. Here's a 1-2 on Mejia. Stays alive. For a young player, Gubi, he's been traded a couple of times and came through the Indians organization. he could always hit. The question has been, then became a Padre. Question has been behind the plate.
It almost seems like you mentioned earlier about sometimes as a catcher, it's all about your hitting it and you kind of forget about your defense. That seems to be what the knock on Mejia is, but he looks pretty solid defensively today. That one looked like he went.
Yes, he did. No help for Adrian Johnson. That's another strikeout for Quintana. Strikeouts had not been an issue. That's already 7 for the lefty. And that's out number 1.
And that's one of those things, you look back in a game, you go, 7 strikeouts, and you're only into the 4th inning. You must have outstanding stuff. Well, you do, but you've made some mistakes early in counts where you just try to throw that get-over strike, and you paid for it.
Suzuki has been busy all game long. That brings up number 8 hitter, Willie Adames, right-handed batter. He takes a pitch down. Great to have you with us as we celebrate Angels' 60th anniversary, and I do love this concept, Gooby.
Yeah,
player takeover and pretty much conversations that we will be having in the dugout. And as a position player, I'll be picking your brain as a pitcher, mostly wanting to know what would you do in certain situations against a slap hitter like me, but also I'll be asking you, in certain situations in the infield, what do you want me to be playing? Where? Why?
Yep. Now, Jose, I learned more from talking to position players than I did fellow pitchers, even looking at scouting reports. I love to hear what they would, how McRae would be looking against me in an RBI situation, what George Brett would try to do against me. When I went to the Angels, Eddie Murray was in there when I was with the Angels there. Or, Rod Carew was the hitting coach. What would you be looking for? You learn so much because you always think, okay, my pitch, if I make my pitch, I'm going to get him out. But you know what? They're looking for that exact same pitch you're throwing. So you better make some adjustments during the course of an at-bat in the game to be successful.
By the way, Gooby, I cannot wait to have these games continue throughout the season as we will continue to rotate some of the legends like Mark Langston, Garrett Anderson. Tim Salmon's going to join us in some of these player takeovers. I cannot wait, and such an honor to be a part of it. This one's a high, deep, and Upton's going to just let it go and look at it because it is way gone for Willie Adames, number 8 hitter.
I was going to say, coming in that bad, Adames, even though just a couple home runs this year, he has really good power. And that baseball, if you look where that went, and that is a long, long way out.
That makes it 5-0 Rays here in the 4th inning. And boy, bottom of the order again, doing some damage against Quintana.
And that's well over 400 plus feet. Fastball, this the heart of the plate. Quintana knows it, doesn't even give a courtesy look. That's good power, lifted that up.
Adames came into the game hitting 167. That is his 3rd home run and 8th RBI of the season.
Ball went 446 feet. So he's got a double and a home run, 2 runs scored already tonight.
Even more impressive, he's used every direction of the ballpark. Look at this one. Got some lift on that one. Kiermaier gets a piece of that one. He struck out swinging first time up. 1 of 7 strikeouts for José Quintana. Did you ever have a night like this where you go, wait a minute, I have the case, 67 pitches, and still have a 5 on the board and saying, why?
Oh, yes.
What am I doing?
Oh, yes, because I guarantee you when he's asked the question, how'd you feel warming up? He's going to say, I felt great. His stuff has been great, yet you look up and he's given up 5 runs on 6 hits, and we're only in the 4th inning.
Yeah, recently activated James Hoyt is warming up for the Angels, the right-hander. Quintana is missing down against Kiermaier. And I knew you as a player, as a person. I saw you compete, but when you see the damage being done at the bottom, you may not see it now, but when the game ends, you got to be saying, wait a minute, I have to do a better job with these guys.
And sometimes there is a slight letdown when you get down towards the bottom part of the lineup, especially when you look at batting average. The Rays have that lower part of the lineup. You're thinking, okay, if I can just navigate my way through some of the top part of the lineup with their power, and then you lose focus, you hit more of the plate than you want to, and you look up, and now you're down by 5 runs.
I was looking at Dylan Bundy yesterday. I made this point during the broadcast with you and Darren. 7, 8, 9, or 6, 7, 8, 9. We're hitting 0-80 against Dylan Bundy. He's taking care of business with those guys in the bottom.
They're the ones you should be getting out. So you've got to make sure when you get to that point, there's no letdown. They're the ones you pick up your strikeouts. You get some quick outs.
And on the hands, Kiermaier fights it off.
You limit the pitches thrown. because you're trying to get quick outs, because you're in the lower part of the lineup and you're struggling. There's a lot of teams like the Angels have a pretty deep lineup 1 through 9, so those guys are going to make a good pass at a baseball. But the Rays at this point, the lower part of the lineup, they're going to be aggressive because they don't want to fall behind in counts and have to deal with secondary pitches. So use that against them, but don't just throw that get over breakable or fastball first pitch. You're going to run into some problems.
Nice catch by a fan on the foul ball. So Gubi being on the other side of the dugout, did you guys ever notice this when somebody just came up with an outstanding dandy like this one?
Oh, yes.
Oh, nice do a little dance. I love it. Come to the ballpark, have a great time here at the Big A. It's not been a great time for the Angels, losing now 5-0 here in the 4th inning. Swinging and a miss, that's another K. Out number 2. But now a quick word from Jack in the Box.
Get my $5.99 50-50 popcorn chicken with both classic and spicy, only at Jack in the Box.
Joe Madden's coming out after 73 pitches. And the top of the order coming up again. Joe Madden will take it away, and we will take a break with the Angels' James Hoyt coming in from the bullpen. Hey, flashback, and now our Carl's Cam replay. Who is this? Combined no-hitter, April 11th, 1990. Yes, and he just made his way back from Mota Island.
Yes.
Mark Langston.
Yes, I had to paddle my way through, get off Mota Island. I know Gubicza's on his way down there, and it was fun down there. Boy, he just, again, it's so quick, and these guys make it look so slow. When you get that opportunity to sit down that field level, you just see how fast that ball that David Fletcher, I thought he had it, that hipped over, he was coming right towards me, and just see how quickly that went. And you talked about the aggressive base running that the Tampa Bay Rays have had tonight. You could see them turning the corners and coming right at you. So much quicker on the field than it is up here in the booth.
Oh, so your game right now is going to slow down a little bit, Langer. Gooby's making his way down to the third base side on the field on Mota Island. Yes, James Hoyt making his outing here for the Angels. Hoyt recently added to the roster by the Angels, the former Astro, right-hander. And he delivers now with a 2-0 count to the top of the order. Randy Arozarena, the Cuban. Strikeout swinging. Also walked. Hey, where's Scooby? There he is. You can't miss that, man. Come on. Look at that style. Look at those strides. Look at that pizzazz. Now, any advice you have for Gooby on accommodating himself down there?
I told him on the way out to go heads up, you know, because you get used to, after watching play and checking out monitors, man, you cannot down there. That ball could jump on you quickly as close as you are to the action.
James Hoyt recalled prior to yesterday's ball game by the Angels. He gets enough of that zone for a strike. All right, Gooby, let's go, man. Let's get to work. Oh, look who's there. Uptown Funk is there.
Yeah, the Uptown Funk.
Love that.
I saw them when I was down there. They were working the guys before the game.
It's always interesting to see, Langer, even though conditions are and situations different today, but your interaction with fans, you know, back in the day, early in the day, BP game, you know, tossing a ball to a special kid, by the way.
Yep.
Somebody that you knew, a family, and obviously somebody that perhaps looked a little lonely in the stands.
Sure.
How cool was that?
It's the little things that just go a long, long way.
Just like that. We're going to get more on that foul from you as Hoyt starts off on the right foot here as the Angels trail. Here's our ballpark view today from the T-Mobile coverage cam. What do we have here? Oh, wait a minute. There's a sighting. Where is he?
I'm near a baseball field. I am near a baseball field right now.
Where's your blue glove?
Oh, I might need that. I'm thinking, yeah, I am pretty close here.
It's fun down there. I'll tell you, that vantage point, I know, Jose, that you spend the games down there. It's kind of cool to get back down on the field level again.
Well, you can see how tall Tyler Glasnow is from this angle. It's like, okay, upstairs he looks big, but man, is he big.
Look who's talking. He delivers a strike to Anthony Rendon. Rendon hit the ball hard the first time up. The Angels trailing 5-0 here as Glasnow looking for his 4th win of the season and making his 7th start.
He did a nice job going with his fastball away to right field.
Rendon, Walsh, and Upton here for the Angels in the 4th. The Angels have had base runners in every inning against Langston, but unable to capitalize. 0 for 4 so far for the Angels with runners in scoring position.
And that's what a guy like Glasnow is capable of. The guys with the overpowering stuff can work their ways out of jams.
Okay, going back to the question about the fans and interaction and things like that.
Yeah, a great story when I was playing in Cleveland, and we sold out every game. Every game would be completely sold out, 45,000 every night. So we go down to play Cincinnati. Everybody that couldn't get a ticket in Cleveland now drove down to Cincinnati to see the game in Cincinnati.
Cool.
So I'm in the outfield during batting practice, and there's a little girl in left field.
Sky, short right field. Here comes Manuel Margot. He's been busy today. That's first out for the Angels in the 4th. Go ahead.
And she's got a sign. It says, "It's my birthday. I love Richie Sexson." Richie Sexson, one of our players. We called him the teen idol in Cleveland.
And he was about, what, 6'10"?
Oh, he was 6'8". He was 6'8", just like Glasnow. And so I go, this is during BP, and I go, "You like Richie Sexson?" She goes, "Yes, yes." I go, "Wait right here." So I went to right field. Richie was over in right field, shagging balls in right field. And I go, "Get a baseball. And let's get a pen, and there's a little girl, it's her birthday. I want you to put happy birthday on this baseball, sign your name, and give it to her." So Richie comes over, and I'm watching this little girl start to melt right in front of my eyes. Richie gets over there, signs the baseball, goes, "Hey, it's your birthday?" And she goes, "Yes, it's my birthday." And she's literally crying. He flips the ball up to her, and he goes, "Happy birthday, I hope you have a great day." And that little thing, and so sure enough, it was a great moment as it was. 2 weeks later in my mail, I'm looking through my fan mail, I get a letter from this little girl and said this was the greatest moment of my entire life. And I took that letter and I went over and I gave it to Richie Sexson. I sat it on. I go, "Richie, read this. That little itty bitty thing that you just did, it took 0 time to do. That little girl will never forget this the rest of her life."
That's so wonderful.
Oh, it's it still gives me chills because it was, reading that letter afterwards and what that means to people. And we see it on a daily basis, what Albert interacts with people, with Trout interacts, Shohei. You could just see kids melt right in front of you, and it's just a small little thing, and it's fun to see when players do interact with the fans.
Walsh swings and miss. He struck out first time up. He among a couple of Angels that have seen 100 miles an hour tonight from Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah, you don't see too often for Walsh this season where he doesn't look like he can see a pitch real well. That was a pretty nasty slider down in the dirt.
5 strikeouts so far for the tall right-hander from Newhall and Hart High School. Here's a 1-2.
By the way, a lot of really good players at a Hart High School in Santa Clarita. Trevor Bauer, amongst many of them.
I think he wanted that pitch, you think?
Yeah. He's got a great edge to him, too. Not only does he have great stuff, he's got an edge. And speaking of edges, he hits the edge with a fastball on a 4-seamer right on the corner at 98, but didn't get the call.
He's got some of the Gooby hair, too.
That's
Ha Gooby. Gotcha.
Oh, man. I had the feeling that was going to come up somehow.
Breaking ball down the dirt, swings over the top of it. Mejia will put it away for another strikeout, out number 2. Gooby, how about you? I saw you with so many fans, not only in Kansas City, but throughout spring training. I know you made some days quite special for a lot of fans in your career, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I remember my dad once told me the minute I made it to major leagues, he said, "You know what? Anytime anyone, no matter what the scenario, if it's raining or if it's hot or there's 100 people waiting in line and they ask you for your autograph, you give them the time and then give it as if you're having a conversation with the fan as well." And I've been able to do that. At some point, they're not going to ask you for an autograph anymore, and then you just don't feel as good. But when anybody just recognizes you wants to either say hi or take a picture or get something signed, it is, for me, it's still one of the biggest thrills ever to have someone ask for my autograph. I'm thinking, why do you want my autograph? There's a lot of other people around here. There's a Mike Trout. And when we're out there in the desk, there's a Tim Salmon. There's a Mark Langston. There's a José Mota. Why are you wasting your time with me? But it makes you feel good when somebody asks you for an autograph.
You put me in a very special group, Gooby. Thank you.
Yes, because you know what? You preserve the perfect game, so you're always going to be perfect in my mind, José Mota.
There's a perfect swing out on the pull side from Justin Upton.
Yeah, one of the rare changeups we've seen from Glasnow in this game. This was right down the middle of the plate, and J.F. pulls this trigger a little too quick. It hits in the upper deck and lands all the way back down. Almost hits you in the back of the head down there, Gooby.
I'll take one for the team just to get the offense going.
Upstairs, Upton had a very good at bat. In fact, stole a base back in the second inning when he walked. Angels come in with an even record at 13-13. The Rays at 14-15. And the Rays have been scuffling, but they have their ace on the mound here with a 5-run lead in the fourth.
Ooh, good hack there by Upton.
You notice, Scooby, you know, a lot of times down there on Mota Island, I talk about approaches, and I see guys striding on the mound, but I also notice a lot of hitters in perhaps what they might be looking for.
Yeah, they're just trying to be quicker. The best chance to be able to be quicker to the plate now when you're dealing with 97, 98, even 100 miles an hour. But also, same thought is with the curveball, you want to be able to get it out in front, so you got to get those hands going quickly to be able to make good contact.
Oh, some gas, 100 miles an hour. Another strikeout. 1, 2, 3. Go the Angels here in the fourth, trailing by 5. Top of the fifth, 5-0 Rays here, first game of this series. Well, guys, we are so fortunate, so blessed, so lucky to every night see number 27 take the field. His name is Mike Trout. He's still a kid at heart. I mean, he's still a young man, but the numbers don't lie. This guy is a Hall of Fame player with many, many years left to play for him.
You're right. It's a blessing to be able to come to the ballpark and see a guy with this talent, and people in the Southern California area that get the opportunity to either watch it on the broadcast or come to the ballpark and see one of the greatest players that's ever going to put a uniform on. And that is special. These are things that your kids, the rest of their life, will be able to talk about going to the game and seeing Mike Trout, one of the best players that's ever put a uniform on.
How amazing is it after, warming up in the outfield, in between innings, he'll throw a baseball up in the stands, or if he's in the on-deck circle before he's facing a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, he can say hi and interact with the fans and then get that refocus and go out and crush the baseball in the batter's box. It's amazing his focus, even though he could still interact with fans both in the field and in the batter's box.
One of the things I enjoy the most being down there, Gooby, is right before the game starts, as we're getting ready to do our pregame show, Angels Live, but I hear these little kids behind me saying, Mikey, Mikey. Did you hear that today? It is so cool, man, I'm telling you. Hey, Mikey. And he, he acknowledges, goes, hey, give me a minute. Unfortunately, players are not signing autographs because of what we're going through right now, but it is the most refreshing, coolest thing ever to hear those voices coming from Mike.
Yeah, we've seen it in the past, a couple of years ago, when fans were down on the field during batting practice. And again, the interactions with the kids, and that's, Mike Trout loves that. I mean, he is a guy that he loves to sit there and interact with these young men and give them their batting gloves, and he did that for my grandson. And my grandson went into the cage with Mike when he was 2 years old, and just to watch the interaction that he had with my grandson was priceless. I've got it all on videotape. And then when my grandson came out, he goes, he's not scary. He's not scary.
I love that. Did you think he was a member of Star Wars, how tremendous he is?